Some information has come out regarding the situation inside of Yemen due to the siege that it has been under for years now as a result of Saudi Arabian militarism, or more specifically, imperialism, that has been backed by the United States, the United Kingdom, and other so-called progressive, advanced industrialized societies, the so-called human rights champions of the world. However, a new report that has come out about the country shows how absolutely devastating the situation is there right now. Now, currently we have peace talks between the Houthi rebels who are attempting to preserve their own country and the Saudi Arabian government, which is outright carrying out a genocide, which has killed more than 10,000 people in the country, and certainly much more than that. And in terms of just actual direct action, this doesn't include starvation and people who have died from a lack of access to services, and the now 14 million people who are on the brink of starvation, another famine caused by capitalism and the capitalist desire for profits. Now, the peace talks are set to continue into the end of the year, and 3 local aid workers from the Norwegian Refugee Council describes its absolutely devastating impact. Not only have tens of thousands of people have died, 3 million people have been forced to leave their homes as a result of this conflict. 22 million people are in need of aid, and 14 million face starvation. Now, as if all of that wasn't bad enough, they are now testifying by people on the ground who live there, actual Yemenis, that suicide rates have skyrocketed. People are choosing to commit suicide rather than face starvation. So people who were potentially going to starve to death are killing themselves before it happened. That's how bad it is. The conditions are so bad that they cannot bear it in any way, shape, or form, and are committing suicide before they can suffer a much longer, much more painful death through starvation. Now, for all the great, for frankly, evil that's going on in that situation right now, Yemenis are choosing to end their lives because rather than face the terrible fate that awaits them for being in a country that is under siege by the Saudi kingdom. And for years, the Western governments, the so-called champions of human rights, have not only looked the other way on this situation, but have then proceeded to assist the Saudi government in doing so. That includes Canada, the United States, the UK, and other countries that have sold weapons to them. And I particularly wish to call out my own Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, who can get upset at somebody saying, mankind instead of personkind. That offends him. That offends his liberal sensibilities. But 10,000 people dead, 22 million in need of aid, 14 million on the brink of starvation, and now large numbers of suicides to avoid starvation, well, this doesn't seem to bother him at all. That's okay. I mean, we have an agreement with the Saudis. We can't possibly break them just because millions of people, tens of millions of people are suffering. And that speaks very much. I mean, the UN can say this or that about what's going on. They can report it. But the countries who are responsible for it, for supporting the Saudis, have completely turned a blind eye to this situation. Oh, now, Congress is trying to push something through to condemn Saudi Arabia and cut off the military aid to them, largely just to get at Donald Trump. Not that they ever gave one iota of a damn about the Yemeni people before Donald Trump started defending it. When it was happening under Obama, they didn't have anything to say. But, if Jamal Khashoggi dies, then that's crossing the line, and now we have to start paying attention to what Saudi Arabia is doing. So, this one journalist, well, that's going too far, but the tens of millions of people in need of aid inside of Yemen, that's okay. I'm reminded by that old expression, the death of one is a tragedy, the death of 1,000 is merely a statistic. Because that's exactly how imperialism sees people's lives. That's exactly how capitalism sees people's lives. Oh, this one guy dies, it's like the worst thing that ever happens, and now we have to start criticizing the Saudis. Thousands. Tens of thousands can die in a faraway land where we don't have to pay attention or even be bothered by it. and it's merely a statistic on the news. I think that speaks very much to the cold-blooded nature of capitalism itself, the sheer cold-blooded indifference to this kind of suffering, which is not limited to merely Yemen, but which has killed tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of people across how many centuries of capitalism. But, as long as, people can pretend that, it's just something that happens over there, all the time, it's just a thing that happens. It's, we're used to that, it's just this thing that happens. Then I guess empires or people allied to the empire, Canada, the United States, the UK, and other European countries, can sleep safely at night because they don't have to experience it. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.